Hey, what's up guys? This is Chris and I'm back with more Everyday RC and my team associated rival monster truck. Well, it's been a few months since I've given an update on this truck and there's been a lot going on behind the scenes. So like I said before, if you want to stay in the loop on everything that's been going on with Everyday RC, find me on Facebook and on Instagram. There's tons of bashing videos in my playlist, so I encourage all of you to go check it out to see what this truck is capable of. I know there's a lot of new subscribers to the channel. Most of you don't really know this truck, aren't too familiar with it. This is personally one of my favorite monster trucks in my collection. It's super custom, it's one of a kind, and it definitely is original. And I just wanted to share with you everything that's been going on with the truck. This is a custom painted body that was done by myself, and there's a bunch of stuff going on with this, a bunch of upgrades that I will fill you all in on, but let me just give you a quick story very quickly. My bash event of 2015, I brought a bunch of my vehicles there, and of course I always make sure everything is functioning properly before I go out, and I did test this truck before we went out that day, and everything was working properly. But the day of, plugged in the batteries, drove about 10 feet, and the truck locked up on me, and I could not figure it out right there on the spot. It was very frustrating, and I was anxious to figure out what exactly the problem was. And when I got home after further inspection, it turns out that it was my motor. This is the original motor in the truck, and it turns out that one of the bearings is pretty well locked up in here. And I've had this motor in there from the get-go. Obviously it's the original motor, but from the start I did upgrade the ESC to a Hobbywing 150 amp ESC, so I immediately started running max amps 6S in here, no cooling fan, and I'm surprised that the motor lasted this long, because I really did push this motor to the limit as far as heat goes, as far as just everything. I actually at one point repaired the wires, the internal wires in here, because the wire casings were getting worn out from vibration. And technically I could rebuild this motor. They do sell the replacement bearings, and I could rebuild this motor, but this is a very inexpensive motor. I believe you can find this for about 60 bucks on eBay. It's a 2000 kV motor, so it is up there. At least that's what Reedy rates it at, as a 2000 kV. So this motor was shot. So I already had the 150 amp ESC, so I knew I could run a pretty good size motor in here. But I was tossing around a few ideas. What exactly should I put in here? And I was going to put a sensored motor, because this ESC can take a sensored or sensorless motor. And I know with sensored motors you get a lot more control, low-end control, more so used in rock crawling, at the track and racing situations. But I've always used sensored motors in all my bashers, and honestly I've pretty much stick with Castle equipment, so that's what I decided to go and put in here. I did put a sensorless 2200 Castle motor in here. And that's the same motor that can be found in the Traxxas E-Revo, the Traxxas E-Maxx. I've put that motor in my Axial Yeti XL. I've put those motors in my speed run vehicles, and they are very, very good quality motors. Their life expectancy is very long, and I've seen how far they can get pushed. So I figured for this 1/8 scale monster truck, there shouldn't be anything better that I could possibly go with than a Castle 2200 kV motor. So that's what I've done recently. We got rid of this old Reedy, and let me get you guys in a little bit closer on what's going on inside the truck, because I've done a lot with the electronics, and I also have the addition of a really badass cooling fan. Alright, let me start from the top and work my way down. I'm going to run through this very quick because I don't want to make this video super long. So of course, let's start with the body. This is a Team Associated Rival monster truck body. I bought clear, then I custom painted it. I got a few of my friends on here that I'm representing, starting with WERTYMADE. He is the guy who made the roll cage on the inside. Sorry to tell you, he no longer makes the roll cages for the rival monster truck, but he does make plenty of products for Axial, and that is what he is more well known for. So thanks a lot, WERTYMADE. So he gave me a decal. I put that as a mask on the inside. Got a little representation of him on top on the roof there because it's such an awesome roll cage that he made for me. And this is to represent Bad RC Graphics. Charlie Sikori over at Bad RC Graphics. He makes all my stickers for me, so I want to thank you for that, Charlie. And on the back, I got my I Jump RC sticker because, of course, you guys know that I love to jump monster trucks. But this is a friend of mine, Bryndon, over at I Jump RC. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. He's also a videographer for TrekXas, so he does shoot all the TrekXas videos, which is probably one of the best jobs you could possibly have, I can imagine. So he hooked me up with a sticker, had to put it on this truck. I have a few others that I might put on some special vehicles, but right now I'm representing I Jump RC on my rival monster truck. And that's pretty much it as far as the body goes. The body took me a little while to get done, and of course I'm always representing my favorite batteries, Max Amps. So that's what is behind the story of the body here. Alright, let me show you what's going on the inside here. Alright, so there's a lot of upgrades into this truck, and I'm gonna have to run down all the upgrades real quick for you guys. So, of course, you're seeing the WERTYMADE rival roll cage right there that he made for me, and I sprayed it with blue Plasti Dip, which has worked out pretty good. As you can see, I run it without the body a lot, and you know, I roll over, scratch it up, but that's what a roll cage is for, so no big deal. I can always respray this and put another coat of the Plasti Dip on there, but it was cool to see that Plasti Dip makes multiple colors now, so I figured why not try the blue, right? I mean, it looks incredible on here. So we got the WERTYMADE roll cage. Alright, so it's almost a stock rival monster truck with the exception of we have the, from AsiaTees, these are the GPM shock towers that are made for the MGT 8.0 monster truck, which is the same exact truck as this, only it's nitro. So the MGT 8.0 was the first version of this, and then they released the rival, which is basically the electric version of the MGT 8.0. So go on AsiaTees, look under their GPM section or the rival or MGT 8.0 section, and you'll be able to find these aluminum shock towers, which you can find them in blue or silver. I went with the silver, and I think they look really, really badass on there. That's definitely an upgrade you're going to want to do to your rival monster truck. Then I bought the aluminum bodied shocks for the MGT 8.0. These are made by Team Associated. These are just the aluminum body shocks that they make. So I upgraded the stock plastic rival shocks to the aluminum ones. And I picked up the bronze extra firm shock springs to give it a little bit more suspension because it is a little bit soft right out of the box. Then these are just blue shock socks I found on eBay for it. I think they were either made for the rival, the MGT, or they might even be made for the T-Maxx or the E-Maxx. Anything that takes 8 shocks should work. Okay, of course it's all RPM'd out. I went with the blue RPM A-arms and went with the RPM axle carriers. I do not suggest going with the axle carriers for this because the axle carriers are meant for a T-Maxx, and it does require some modifications to make it fit, and I don't expect any average person to go out there and do what I had to do to make them fit, but I did make it happen. But unless you're willing to put in some hard work to make those fit, I don't suggest buying them. Okay, so it is all RPM'd out. So definitely an upgrade you're going to want to do to your rival would be the aluminum shock towers and the RPM A-arms and the shocks. After you deal with all that, I'm pretty sure that you're going to be set up as far as the durability aspect of it. Now you want to give it a little bit more power. So you're going to want to get rid of the stock ESC because the stock ESC is only capable of 4S. which is really fun out of the box. I suggest you drive it a little bit before you upgrade everything. You should go out and break some stuff first before you start upgrading. But once I put in this Hobbywing 150 amp ESC into this, I was able to run 6S in this truck, and that's what I ran in this truck from the start. I had maybe 1 or 2 runs in the truck, and then I started running 6S, and that was thanks to my friend Vasco from Aussie RC Playground. I got in contact with him. He's done a ton of work on his rival. In fact, he's the one that gave me a lot of these ideas, gave me some suggestions to do to this truck, and I think him and I are the 2 guys on YouTube that have really upgraded our rivals to the max. And I think I pushed mine over the edge with the WERTYMADE roll cage on here. But thanks a lot for that, Vasco. And of course, I mean, look at the blue anodized look on there. Looks amazing. So that was definitely awesome. So I was finally running the Reedy in here for a long time. The Reedy blew out, so I went with the Castle 2200 kV motor. Now you can't find a Castle motor in blue, so we had to go with the green, but that's okay. That's perfectly all right. And of course, I went with the blue wire mesh on there. I went with some blue heat shrink tubing, some green heat shrink tubing, just to match a little bit. I tidied up the wires down over here. I suggest you Velcro your wires down to the chassis over here. And then, thanks to a donation that was given to me by a good friend of mine, he's actually a subscriber of my channel. He got in contact with me and we become really good friends. So this was actually one of my, actually my only donation that was ever given to me. And I don't really think it was meant to be as a donation. It was just meant to be given to me as a friendly type of thing, because a friend of mine, Keith Turner, what's up Keith, how you doing, buddy? He really turned me on to these cooling fans, these Yeah Racing cooling fans, which is amazing. And I guess he had this extra one laying around and he donated it to me, which means a lot to me. So thanks a lot for that, Keith. And I mean, he's got a great eye for upgrading, and he's got definitely a good attention to detail. I keep telling him every day he should start his own YouTube channel, but he's a little bit shy in front of the camera. I told him, with the work that you do, you should not be ashamed of being shy, because it's not about being shy, it's about showing your masterpiece and all your useful information. So hopefully one day Keith will start his own YouTube channel, but until then, he's a good friend of mine. We keep in contact, we text every day. He sent me a lot of good information for a few of my vehicles, and it's great to be able to talk with somebody like that, especially a fan of the show. I don't even think he comments on my videos at this point. We're just really good friends, and I want to thank you a lot for that, Keith. And I mean, is that not an awesome hookup? I mean, look at that fan. The blue aluminum is just insane. The heat sink that they make on these, the dual cooling fan, Yeah Racing, that's where it's at. Like, I have to get that cooling fan for all my vehicles. In fact, I need a cooling fan for my Yeti XL, and I'm probably going to go with the Yeah Racing cooling fan. So check them out. Do a search on eBay, do a search on Amazon, go on any of your hobby websites, look up the Yeah Racing. There's a few other websites, I'm not really sure right now, I can't really give you the names, but look up the Yeah Racing cooling fans. They're great. So I got the whole power system set up here, and I'm super happy with it. I've tidied up all the wiring, everything's looking really good on it. And now, of course, with the addition, now these are only 4S, these are 2S each, but I ran this truck with these batteries, guys, and it is insane. And plus, with the blue on there, the Max Amps blue flames, it just goes with this truck so well. And I am so happy with this truck. I have driven it like this. I have not driven it with the cooling fan yet, but I have driven it like this. As you can see, I haven't even really cleaned it up. You know, there's not too many Shelf Queens in my collection. You know, I use them. I love them. I take care of them. You know, and I keep them looking good, you know, and that's what what it's all about, you know. So my trucks get a lot of TLC, but I ran this truck recently with these batteries, and it's got an insane amount of power. So I definitely want to be putting up a bashing video of this very soon. But before I make this video too long, I'm going to end it here. I got these max amps batteries, and I'm going to charge this bad boy up right now. I'm going to juice it up. I'm going to turn it on for you guys, and I'm going to show you what it's got just on the stand right here. Oh yeah, you hear those cooling fans?